Imagine being told to pack up your life in a single suitcase, leave your home, and move to a place you've never been, all because of where your family came from. This happened to thousands of Japanese Canadians during World War II. In this video, we're diving into one of the darkest chapters in Canadian history, Japanese internment camps. We'll explore why these camps were created, what life was like inside them, and how Canada eventually came to terms with this injustice. Brought to you by Super Simple Sheets. From coast to coast, worksheets that work. Discover the full range of what we offer at supersimplesheets.com. Section 1. Why were Japanese internment camps created? In the early 1900s, many Japanese immigrants came to Canada seeking opportunities. They settled primarily in British Columbia, working as fishers, farmers, and business owners. Over time, Japanese Canadians became an important part of their communities. But everything changed during World War II. After Japan attacked Pearl Harbor in 1941, Canada declared war on Japan. Fear and suspicion spread quickly. Many people believed, without evidence, that Japanese Canadians might be loyal to Japan, even though most had lived in Canada their whole lives. In 1942, the Canadian government ordered all people of Japanese descent living near the West Coast to leave their homes. More than 20,000 Japanese Canadians were sent to internment camps far from the coast. Families were forced to sell their homes, businesses, and belongings, often at unfairly low prices. The government claimed these measures were for national security, but no evidence ever showed that Japanese Canadians were a threat. Section 2. What were the internment camps like? Life in the internment camps was harsh. Families were housed in small, poorly built shacks that offered little protection from the cold Canadian winters. These shelters often lacked proper insulation, running water, or electricity. Some camps were located in the mountains, where snow and freezing temperatures made life even more difficult. Men, women, and children had to share cramped spaces, and privacy was almost non-existent. Food was limited, and medical care was hard to come by. People were also required to do hard labor, such as building roads or farming, for very little pay. Despite these challenges, Japanese Canadians showed incredible resilience. They worked together to create schools, grow gardens, and build a sense of community within the camps. Children continued their education as best they could, and families supported one another in the face of adversity. Section 3. The impact on Japanese Canadians. The effects of the internment were devastating and long-lasting. Many families lost everything they had worked for. Their homes, businesses, and personal belongings were sold off, and they were never compensated fairly. When the war ended in 1945, Japanese Canadians were not allowed to return to their homes on the West Coast immediately. Instead, they were forced to move to other parts of Canada, or even back to Japan, a country many had never seen. Even after restrictions were lifted, rebuilding their lives was incredibly difficult. Racism and discrimination didn't disappear overnight, and it took decades for Japanese Canadians to regain what they had lost. Despite these challenges, they persevered and continued to contribute to Canadian society in remarkable ways. Section 4. How Canada confronted its past. For many years, the story of Japanese internment was ignored or forgotten. But in the 1980s, Japanese Canadians began to push for recognition and justice. Their efforts led to an important moment in 1988, when the Canadian government officially apologized for the internment camps. The apology included financial compensation for survivors and a promise to educate future generations about this dark chapter in history. Today, the story of Japanese internment serves as a reminder of what happens when fear and prejudice take over. It also highlights the importance of protecting everyone's rights, even in times of crisis. Conclusion. The story of Japanese internment camps is one of loss, resilience, and, ultimately, hope. It shows us how fear and discrimination can lead to injustice, but also how communities can overcome incredible challenges. As Canadians, it's our responsibility to learn from the past and ensure that everyone's rights and freedoms are protected, no matter the circumstances. By remembering these stories, we honor those who endured them and work toward a more just and inclusive future. Thanks for watching. Simplify your teaching journey with super simple sheets. Across Canada, we're known for our ready-to-use, curriculum-aligned worksheets. Dive into our educational solutions at supersimplesheets.com. Super Simple Sheets. From coast to coast, worksheets that work.